What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Nonsense FC with the two has-beens. Once again, Eric Cruz, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Good. How's it feel to be back home, back in your beloved Texas?
It's only about 120 degrees.
Is it really? That's
Yeah,
fine.
it's not that bad. Uh, we couldn't get any potties in. We got two while I was there, but it's interesting to be back. It's interesting to be back.
It is. And let's get to it. Let's get into some CONCACAF Gold Cup with a bunch of B teams.
Some C teams.
Who got a C team?
For the sake of supporting the USA, it's a C team
You think it's a C team?
for
I
sure.
said, I think it's a B team.
Nah,
Well, I guess you could say it's a C-ish team. What do you want to start
well,
with? Let's see.
let's
You want
start off with quarterfinal results. I want to start off with Guatemala and Jamaica.
That was actually a very interesting game. I don't know if you watched it, and I don't know if our viewers watched it, but it was a very entertaining game, even though it was only 1-0 for Jamaica. But a very entertaining game.
Yeah, I don't. I was texting Gaiska, and
Is he
Gaiska said,
Guatemala?
no, he's Mexican, but
Oh, okay.
uh, he said he went to church and he saw a lot of Guatemalans wearing their jerseys.
Oh, I bet they're
What?
probably excited.
Yeah, he was like, I was thinking to myself, they should take it off. Blah 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 blah. All right, I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. I was actually rooting for Guatemala because Luis Fernando Tena is the coach there. He is the coach who took Mexico to win uh, the Olympics against Brazil in 2022 of London. So I thought he was gonna do really well in the,
I
in the
think he
World Cup.
did very well with the team that he had.
Yeah, I think he had the same tools that Hugo Perez has in El Salvador. Not many.
I will say though, I feel like that team has more talent than the Salvadorian team easily.
Defensively, I agree with you.
Yeah, defensively they had. I feel like they were very solid in the defense. I know they got scored on once, but it was off a really good pass, and it was like a terrible giveaway, and but overall, I feel like their defense was pretty solid.
Yeah, and one thing about this game is that I feel like Guatemala came in with a game plan, which was keep possession as much as you could, get the ball back and attack,
Yeah.
which is what I saw in the first half. The second half was a little bit more back and forth with Jamaica doing really well on breakaways, which were just Guatemala mistakes. They weren't really building any plays.
Yeah, I think what they lacked was definitely condition. I feel like they just didn't have the energy in them to like get it going. Like they would get the ball in a perfect position to counterattack, and it just seems like nobody had the legs to go for the counterattack though. And then if they did, nobody had the legs to track back. So I think that's what really killed them.
Yeah, I feel like they had legs for one half only at the pace they were
Yeah,
playing at.
basically.
It doesn't really help when you have one good forward in Ruben Rubio, who plays for Salt Lake. Uh, Not the best striker, but it's the best Guatemala has. I think another striker like Pescadito Ruiz in his prime would just
Oh yeah, come
mess
in.
him up.
He probably would have got a goal in. I will say this though, I am a little disappointed with Jamaica because I feel like they have a lot of talent, and but I think I realized what the problem on their team is. I feel like they have a lot of attacking power, but they have no midfield to transition them into attacking. It's like their midfield is very slow on the ball. They give up the ball very easily. They don't really track back and like kind of stop plays when they need to stop them. So, but their forwards are pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it could have been that Jamaica not took the game easy, but took Guatemala lightly.
I think so. I think
So
so.
the level
I
of
don't even.
play was just not there in that game.
Yeah,
I don't think you see this Jamaica against Mexico tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how they come out on their attitude.
Yeah,
And
it's a
because
semi.
it is. And I'll give you an example. Like I feel Damari Gray, when he would get the ball, it was like for him, he was just like toying with players. He was
Yeah,
like, I'm not really like I'm trying, but I'm not really trying, if that makes sense.
like
Like
let
you're
me keep
not,
it as interesting as I can.
yeah. Like, and kudos to him because I feel like he was like one of the best ball players out there. But
I do. I want to be a little controversial on this game.
okay, let me hear it then.
I feel like Guatemala should have been playing up a man.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you saw that tackle where it was cleats up to like the calf area.
I did not see it, but from what I heard was that it should have been a red.
It should have been a red card, and we'll get into another situation very similar in another game in a bit. But it was 0-0. Guatemala would have been up a man.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to go further, after 1-0 in the like 91st minute, I was driving, so I really couldn't like focus on the game.
Uh-huh.
It was a potential handball.
Yeah, I kind of remember.
It was a potential handball. PK wasn't
I'm trying to
called.
remember why. Yeah, I'm trying to remember why they didn't call it though.
I guess that's where like the rule gets tricky. Ball to hand, hand to ball, hand
Yeah,
not in an area where it's natural. That those two things would have definitely changed the game. I
easily.
think I think Jamaica does have a great roster for these World Cup, I mean sorry, Gold Cup games to be able to pull up a win with 10 players. Like you mentioned, they weren't 100%. They were like kind of toying with Guatemala,
Yeah.
but
Although they should have put them away better if they were gonna toy with them. You know what I mean? Like I feel
yeah,
like winning 1-0 is not so secure, I guess.
yeah, and also Guatemala had their chances in the first half to get
Yeah.
some goals in, maybe 1-0 at half or whatever, but um we'll move on to the next game,
Which I'm
which
assuming is
was
Mexico versus
Canada.
Costa Rica.
Oh, sorry,
No,
sorry.
Costa Rica.
Yeah,
I'm very disappointed in Costa Rica this tournament. Actually, I'm used to rooting for them as the underdogs because I feel like they go into big tournaments and they like show out. Um, but this tournament they were just like a little flat. I feel like the only player that I saw a lot of grit and attitude from was Campbell.
bro, I was about to be like Campbell.
Yeah.
Not
Like the
not
only player that I'm like, this boy can ball. Like he's a really good. I'm surprised he didn't like make it in Europe, I guess, but I really love the way he plays.
yeah,
And
he plays very well.
he's a
Yeah,
lefty. Like, you don't see too many lefties.
I feel like playing in Mexico helped him a lot with this game. Kind of knew what players were going to do,
Oh
pace,
yeah. Yeah,
all that stuff.
easily.
Not there was a bunch of MX players there. There's not a lot of European players that are really making the difference on El Tri. But what are your thoughts on
Talk
the
about
game?
Sanchez.
I mean,
um,
if I'm going to talk spank about Ferreira,
you might as well talk about
there's a rumor that Sanchez might go back to Tigres, or not back to Tigres, but to Tigres, back to Mexico.
already.
Make it happen. Make it happen.
Why I hope he sticks it out. I hope he does.
He's bad.
I
He's horrible.
I'll tell you this though. He's better than Araujo, who plays for Barcelona B team. I
Yeah,
don't
but look at if you're gonna compare Araujo and Sanchez. Araujo's younger. Araujo came from MLS, and he hasn't had a full season at Barcelona.
but I mean, I'm just strictly talking about like their level of play right now though. If I'm gonna pick one over another one, I'm picking Sanchez. I honestly think that
It depends on who's playing. I think Sanchez is just a little bit more physical.
which is probably what you need. Araujo, he doesn't even have great control. I feel like Sanchez has good control of the ball. His crosses are terrible. He doesn't really have any good crosses, but defensively, he's pretty. I would say he's semi solid.
I think I mentioned this in another podcast. he makes up for his mistakes defensively, which makes him look like he's really good defensively. You know what I mean?
Like he recovers fast.
Yeah, like for example, Antuna cuts back a million times, right? On one of those cutbacks, Sanchez is gonna bite, but because he's physical and fast, he'll get back and make a
And take the
block
ball.
or something,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh wow, that was good.
I guess I can see what you're saying with that. I also feel like he has nobody to play with on that team though. Like Antuna's not helping him out all that much either.
Bro,
It's
it's
not
like,
like he's
you know how in math a negative and a negative is a positive? Like
there's no positive out of those two.
no, like they play on the same side. They make the same mistakes.
They make the same runs, I
They
think.
make the same runs. They bump into each other. It's just awful out there. But um, go ahead. Give me your thoughts on the Costa Rica.
I thought it was a very even game up to like I want to say what was the last goal they scored in the 87th minute, and I was like I didn't think Costa Rica would get back in it at all, but I also felt like it wasn't a convincing win for Mexico. Like there was nothing. I was the first goal a penalty? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was right. I mean, Henry Martin gets like I want to say it was like he cut across him just correctly, just barely. Henry Martin has been another player that has just been utterly disappointing this tournament. I just don't understand what he's doing up there. He's kind of the Ferreira of Mexico.
yeah.
Like you're just people say he has all this potential, and I'm like, I don't see none of it. I don't understand what the potential is that you see in this man. Like other than he's a big physical guy, but I don't see him like breaking anybody into like a scoring position. It's just I don't see what the coach is seeing him.
He's a very Ferreira-like player. The only thing he has over Ferreira is that he's just a bodybuilder. But
He's physical.
Yeah, I was talking to Adrian, and he's like, it doesn't matter how strong you are if you can't score the ball, like just don't lift the weight.
In speaking about big players, like I think it's useful to have a big player here and there, right? Like it depends on the situation of the game as well.
Yeah,
right?
but if you're gonna be big, at least do your job and box somebody out.
Exactly, right? Like you can't just be big and dumb, right? Like you gotta be big and like serve your purpose, kind of, right?
There was actually a play in the Costa Rica game where he was trying to body the Costa Rican. The ball was in the air. He's trying to body him, and the Costa Rican player was like, all right, cool. So he kind of lets him fall back, and Henry Martin tries to like bring down the ball, and he doesn't. He fails, and he kind of just like, damn it. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, run back and get the ball. Like, it's right there.
That's your job. Yeah, it's your job. I don't know, but speaking about Mexico, I'm very nervous for them this upcoming game.
I'm not.
You're not? You think they easily win?
I don't think they easily win. There's nothing convincing about Mexico in this tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start off with Jimmy Lozano was given a roster, right?
Yeah, he didn't get to choose his players.
Essentially, you can make the excuse, and then you can make the reasoning that, okay, but the base players he took to the Olympics, right? But it's different when, and I always say this, when you're picking players for the national team, you should always pick the players that are in the moment, right? I don't care about 11 good weeks if in the last 3 prior to a tournament you're dry, you haven't scored a goal. For example, Henry Martin won the Golden Boot in Liga MX last season and hasn't done anything at Selección.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I would say, all right, that makes sense, but I mean, like, I guess it depends what player you're talking about, right? Because if you're talking like, say you're talking about Messi, right, and you're like, oh, he hasn't scored in a month, it don't matter. You're gonna call him.
You just made a Ricardo ass comment like, duh, it's Messi, bro.
Okay, but you see what I'm or how about this? Eden Hazard, right? The boy don't even play, right? But he was getting called up to the Belgium national team
Yeah, but we can
regardless.
we can we can all agree that he loved the Belgium national team, and we can agree that he's a
He
baller. And
performs. Yeah. Yeah.
Ancelotti just didn't want to play him.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, so when you say
Give me another comparison.
uh I want to know who else like I wouldn't know like a player that doesn't play what plays,
Here, I'll give you one. Your best friend, Chris Wondolowski, scoring bangers after bangers in the
Oh,
MLS, and then you
oh
call him
yeah.
up to the World Cup, and then he just
And he
doesn't
doesn't
perform.
he doesn't perform. Yeah, yeah. I mean, but that goes back to like another thing where it's like the MLS isn't the World Cup or like like real
Yeah, but
competition
I mean
sometimes.
that we're talking about the Gold Cup though, so I mean you're not playing Germany.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Okay. Well, I guess I mean I would have brought Henry Martin, but I don't think I would start him. Like maybe he is one of my better strikers, but I don't give him the start because he's not performing. You know,
Yeah,
like I would me personally, I think the guy from Atlas Herrera, I think he should be a starter on that team. I don't know where, but I think he should be starting.
anywhere on the
Any,
wing.
what I mean, on the wings, and maybe you move somebody else over or something, right? But that's Henry Martinez for sure coming out of my starting 11. He's coming in if I really need a striker and I need somebody to be a force up there or something.
I mean, we literally have an informed striker in Santi Jimenez.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Santi Jimenez. Yeah, I'm starting Santi Jimenez over him as well.
Like, how do you not
I
start
guess
him?
he's kind of I think they're giving him the Gio Reyna treatment, huh? They're just like
And that Gio Reyna treatment is a little different because
because his parents got involved or what?
his parents got involved. But um,
But it's similar, right? Like like obviously that the talent's there. He's in form, and you just are like, nah, I'll use him for like 10 minutes.
see, here's a good transition because we're gonna. I didn't give my opinion on Mexico, Costa Rica because it wasn't an interesting game, right? I don't think
Yeah, it was a boring game to be
yeah,
honest.
it
It
was very
was.
boring. Mexico got 2 goals. Everyone on paper thought Mexico would win. They were the favorites going in. But here's where I'm going to transition into USA Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Santi Jimenez is probably getting the Brandon Vasquez treatment. Brandon Vasquez last season was
The
phenomenal for
top goal. Yeah,
Cincinnati, right?
yeah.
And then you come in to a Gold Cup and you start Ferreira in, right? And now I'm going to give you my opinion on the USA Canada game.
And for the people who don't know, they USA wins on
In PKs.
penalties.
3-2
Uh,
PKs, they tie 1-1 in a
no, they
very
tied two
great
two two.
was 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2.
Oh, that's
They
right.
won.
1-1 extra time 2-2.
Yeah,
USA had a horrible first half. They
yeah. It
were
was flat, boring, just a
very
boring
flat,
game as
very
well.
boring. Their wingers and fullbacks seem to want to cross the ball a lot, which to my point, Ferreira was never going to get to any of them because he's 5'6.5".
And all right, let me say this too, though. There are players who are small and know, for instance, if Ferreira is a good player, bro, he's not waiting for the ball next to the defender, right? He's making runs into space to receive the ball, right? You play a different style because you're a smaller player. Like, obviously, there's no fucking point in like send the ball up, bro, because I'm about to go win it over this 6-foot player when I'm 5'6", right? Like, it doesn't even make logical sense.
Yeah,
But
like it's
as
not
a
going to happen.
but like as the forward, your idea should be like, I'm about to slip into space and go get the ball. And when I pull the defender away from me, I'm gonna slip the ball through for another forward or something, right? And I didn't see that out of him. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna just stay up here and lose all these headers and just, I don't know, walk around the park, I guess. I don't understand what his logic was in the game.
BJ's
Oh,
or
or
for
Ferreira's
okay.
both, right? Like you're like I mean, if you're the player, you obviously know you're not going to win the ball in the air, right? So why stick with the last man, right? Like obviously sometimes the coach does do stick with the last man, right? But what
Correct.
good does it serve me if I can't win the ball up there, right? So as
Yeah.
a player, and this is something Benzema does all the time, bro. It's like when he can't get the ball up, he'll come down and receive the ball right in the midfield and
Correct.
turn around and move the ball up. I didn't see that from Ferreira, right? That's a tactical issue that you fix on the field yourself. You're the player. You understand you're not receiving the ball. You go down and you go get it. As a
Yeah.
coach, I would assume you would see the same thing and you'd be like, you need to drop down for the ball.
And I think he saw it when he made the subs, because obviously he left Ferreira in as a 10. You didn't see the difference there. You saw the difference in Cade Cowell and Buzio putting in balls, putting in more through balls, more pace on that attacking third. But I would hope that BJ saw the tape and said, okay, this is a starting lineup that I can not use against Panama, because they absolutely destroyed Qatar 4-0. So I'm actually more excited to see Panama versus USA to see what grit that USA really has. And they showed it because they came back. They showed it.
Yeah, they show that they have the will to come back. Yeah, they did.
With this roster, who would you like to see the US start against Panama?
Me, I'm moving Zendejas over where Grezzo was, because he was just terrible. I don't even understand how he even made the field. How he was on the field for 80 minutes. The commentators on the Spanish channel were like, it only took him 40 minutes to make the change. Like, 40 minutes into the second half, they're like, it only took him 40 minutes. He got the right change, but it only took him 40 minutes. But I'm moving Zendejas over. I'm bringing in Cowell, and then I'm putting Vasquez up front. Those are my top three that I'm going with up top. Busio was doing great. Sands was doing good. I don't see anybody in the midfield that I'm like, I need to change them kind of. Jones and Reynolds, your two wing backs. Jones, I feel like he was solid defensively, and he gave one good cross to Brandon Vasquez. I didn't see too much out of him.
Jones is 15, right?
Yeah, the ones with the
twists.
I don't know if there's twists, singles. I don't know what you call them. Reynolds, he started good and then he like fell apart towards the end. And is he the one who got scored on? I think it was him who got scored on, right?
Miazga got scored on.
Oh, it was Miazga. You're right. But that was his side. So where was he? Or did Miazga?
No, BJ made two subs. He put on Miazga and Aaron Long.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why he did that.
Why? Well, because he thought he had the game won, and then they gave up the penalty like right afterwards.
Yeah, I get it. 1-0, you put into, but it's not. But it's not like your center back.
You know what I've never? Yeah, I know. And you know what I never understand about that is like you put two center backs that are like just big and dumb, kind of, right? Like they're not the type of center backs that like really like stop plays and they're like they chase you down. Like obviously Miazga got beat like super easy by that one player, right? Who I don't even know why he was a sub. I feel like he should have been a starter on that side. But I don't know, I think the defense, they should have just left it as it was unless somebody was like extremely tired. And it was mostly the forwards that just weren't doing it. Zendejas got a lot of hate in this game too. And I feel like he got
a lot of backlash after the game too.
Yeah, but I feel like he's the most disciplined player on that field. Like Ferreira must have gave the ball away 5 or 10 times, bro. And I'm talking about just like pass the ball to the opponent, bro. I did not see Zendejas do that, not once. But somehow, because he's more conservative with the ball, I did think he should have turned sometimes and like took on the players, but he's more conservative and doesn't lose the ball, but he gets more backlash than Ferreira, who just like I thought didn't do anything.
Here's another thing. Zendejas' natural position at Club America is on the right as a winger.
Yeah.
Like just because he's a lefty doesn't mean you put him on the left-hand side.
Yeah, and it's better that he's on the right side so he could cut in anyways.
Yeah, he cuts in and he scores bangers at America, and then you bring him in and you put him. I mean, it's not much of
Yeah,
a difference, I guess, but when you're looking at a certain player profile, and you know he can take people on, use his right foot to get some passes or crosses in, but his bread and butter is crossing in to take a shot.
yeah.
Then,
Like why wouldn't you play him in his natural
yeah,
position?
and
And to add to that,
if you want crosses, you go on the left hand side and you play Cade Caldwell, who just is a freaking animal, and will get you the ball in there
and
as
it
he
goes
did.
back to I know, but it goes back to the same point. If you're gonna go in so that he crosses, because that's what Zendejas and Grezzo were in for, right? Like we're to like cross the ball in. Why is Ferreira in as the number 9? Like this man is not gonna get behind a cross.
No,
You know what
and
I mean?
I I would hope that you're starting up top, your starting 3 prediction happens. I think that's the strongest.
But it's not gonna happen though. I guarantee you
It's
it won't
not,
happen.
and I feel like this Gold Cup is gonna dictate where Sendeja lands in the player pool, which honestly sucks because
Yeah, he's not gonna be called up probably.
he'll get called up. I don't think there's better players better than him in the player pool. But this is what sucks. You have a player who gave you valid reasons to why he chose the United States, right? Which were I did my youth national team with a USA. Therefore, I get along with Pulisic, with Gio, McKennie because we played together growing up. This is where I want to play. Then, the media goes crazy. Oh, we just landed another Mexican American born player. He's going to be great for the. And then he has, a bad tournament because he's not playing in his natural position. And then you just like
You
shit
flame
on
him.
you shit on him.
Yeah.
Like and why
but-
do you set Ferreira at a pedestal and Sendejas not? They're both. If Ferreira was that good, he'd be playing for Colombia,
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
and they have him number 2 behind Florain.
I saw you're talking about Alexi Lalas.
Bro, Alexi Lalas is a fucking nerd.
I mean, I don't know that man, but his player selection, I was like, this man out his damn mind. Like, you would take Ferreira just because he scored 6 goals against
Cuba.
the Caribbean. You know what I mean? Like, what did he do against the Netherlands? What did he do against Canada? What did he do? What's he gonna do against Panama? I guarantee you he doesn't perform.
I guarantee you if he scores against Panama, it's a PK.
Or a tap in.
Not even a tap in. Because Panama has a great defense. They're going to be good defensively, very physical. And then, moving forward, he's going to play Jamaica or Mexico, and he's still going to start. And then, like, he's not a good player.
I would say the potential is there, right? But the potential is not showing in these big games. So the potential that he shows in the FC Dallas games is not translating over to these big games, right? Like it's almost like it basically is like you're playing like you play against like lower division teams and you look great, but then when you have to step up and play against like the top level, you don't show out no more, right? Like
yeah.
And that doesn't show potential. It just means that you're probably not up to par with the top level.
And he's not like I get not everyone's, but ex national team players turned pundits are like he should move to Europe where he's gonna get better, sharpen his tools, like but I don't see anything in him now for him to go to Europe.
Yeah, he's not. The only way I could see it is if he was a playmaker, right? Like he's not your typical nine. He's your false nine who comes in and does playmaker stuff, right? But he doesn't do that for me. He doesn't get it done for me.
No, he doesn't. And like,
and he doesn't have the natural instinct to do it neither.
yeah,
You know
he
what I mean?
doesn't. He's gonna be what Raul Jimenez is to Mexico, where he lives off of one game where he scores. For example, Ferreira scored a tying goal against Mexico in Arizona and celebrated like Ronaldo, and that's his moment. That's what they're gonna remember him by, and which is why he's probably gonna keep getting called up into the national team.
I would highly doubt it that he makes it to the World Cup though. That's me. Unless Berharter is still in control, which I'm almost certain he will be. So
Yeah,
I take that statement back. He'll probably be the starting forward for the first game in the World Cup.
He won't. He won't. But
with 5 minutes,
though, go ahead.
Real quick. I was gonna say real quick, 5 minutes before we go, a little less. What are your predictions for the games? You know, let's start off USA Panama.
That's where I was going. Obviously, I'm a man of my word. I'm rooting for the US. I think the US pulls it off. If they struggled against Canada, they will struggle against Panama. Just because I know how Panama is. And to be honest, I didn't have them in the top 4 teams going into the tournament. I didn't. I had USA, Jamaica, Mexico, and Canada. Those were my top 4 teams.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm expecting one surprise in the semifinals. I don't know if it's going to be Panama, and I don't know if it's going to be Jamaica, but I can guarantee you there will be one surprise. I don't even think it's a surprise because I don't think that Mexico or USA has been playing that great anyways, right? So to me, it's more like, well, that's what you guys deserve.
Let's be honest. None of these 4 teams that are left have played extraordinary. I think Panama has been the more consistent.
Yes, I would say that too.
Right,
yeah.
But they haven't been surprising.
No.
And then you have USA, Jamaica, and Mexico, who are
Jamaica just all shaky, right? Like they're just like they play good for a little bit and then they look terrible, and then they play good.
Exactly.
Terrible. Yeah.
So I get where you're coming from, or at least I think I know where you're coming from, where like if US or Mexico slip up, there's gonna be a surprise.
Yeah. I would say
I see it more from the US.
You see it more from the US?
I see US slipping up.
I think Jamaica might pull it off against Mexico, me personally. I just think that their forwards are going to go into this game thinking like, we chose Jamaica over England. Let's get a W.
I'll tell you this, both games go into overtime.
You think so?
Yeah. Both.
All right, man. We'll see. I don't know.
Both games go into overtime.
So who do you got? Who do you got? Real quick, who you got?
I got USA, Mexico.
Going into the final.
Okay,
I got USA, Jamaica.
USA, Jamaica? God. Man, I don't know, man.
It got to be a little nonsense up in here. It got to be some nonsense.
I mean, Jamaica, Panama in the final.
I would love it.
I would love it. You still get Mexico, USA for a 3rd place game.
But you do. But the problem would be that like people would be like the US and the Mexican fans would just be super upset that their teams aren't in the final.
Not only that,
the sponsors.
I was thinking about this on my car drive here. I don't see soccer like I used to, because now you know it's a business. Like if USA and Mexico aren't in the final, you don't sell tickets.
Yeah, you don't.
Right?
And you don't sell advertisement either, though.
Yeah, so something has to happen.
Somebody gonna pull some strings to make it happen.
Somebody calling the handball.
Well, that's a penalty. 90th minute. Yeah, we're going to overtime.
I think the most controversial game as far as officiating has been Guatemala versus Jamaica.
Yeah, it was a terrible ref. Terrible ref.
Other than that,
It's been pretty
refs,
good, I think.
yeah, they've been decent. There's a couple of refs that I really dislike. I don't think they make they don't have a balance in calls. They kind of um make a call and then they don't call it for the other team when it's the same one, essentially.
Yeah.
Other than that, there hasn't been too much controversy, which I like. We'll save it for the final, see if USA Mexico can get there.
Yeah,
But
if there's, I would just like it because of the rivalry. There's gonna be a lot of fighting going on.
So for all you guys listening, thank you guys. Tune in tomorrow for this episode pregame. Tomorrow, USA, Panama, Jamaica, Mexico, and then we'll be back following those games. And then we're gonna go into the weekend for a Gold Cup final.
All right, everybody.
All right, later.